Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Hello and welcome to SciTech Culture. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern, and we're going to talk about the entertainment industry and its place in culture at the moment, which is going through some interesting phases, I think, wouldn't you say?
Well, it definitely is. It's, we've gone from the silver screen through to now, the digital screen and everything else that goes with that digital layer.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to start in a place where I think maybe how we experienced what the entertainment industry put out when we were growing up. Now, it was a completely different environment in the sense that there were very specific places that you would consume specific types of content in certain places at certain times. So it was a lot more regimented than what it was now. So by extension, so if you look at the technical aspect of it, when we were growing up, the cinema was the only place that you could see the proper high definition experience of something. So in this case, movies, for instance. So that was the only place you could go to see that. That was the pinnacle. So it had a cachet that was very glamorous, very high quality, and also I would say had a level of substance to it, because even though you would still get your fluff movies, entertainment, whatever, you would get movies that had something to say, were about something serious that could generate discussion in the culture, because the forum allowed for that, because it was seen as the place to go to see something of, something that had a strong drive to it, narrative drive or a thematic drive to it. Now you flash forward to today, the cinema is really just another screen. So we've got screens coming out from everywhere. I mean, we're probably one step before the Minority Report sort of world kicks in, where just screens follow us everywhere, and we can't escape them. So whereas, say, someone like you or I can have seen the cinema as somewhere to look up to, I don't know if the current generation see it as the same thing, because to them it's just, you go there just because that thing that we want to see happens to be there. But equally, I could just wait 2 months or even a month because the window isn't that short anymore, and I can just watch it on my iPad, on my phone on the way to work, and to them it doesn't seem like it's any different. So once it starts losing that type of cachet in the culture, and the fact that Hollywood is producing less material that, shall I say, has that strong narrative and thematic content to it, it doesn't have that place in the culture anymore. So then, as a broader issue, if you apply that to TV, film, music, whatever, and that erosion of the substance to what they're producing, it makes me wonder whether it actually has, if say you or I, we wanted to be in that industry because that was what was attracting us to it, to be able to do high quality stuff. If now, I don't know if it has that anymore for people coming through now. And you couple that with the fact that everyone's carrying a device that can have access to a device that produces 4K content, basically what you could show in a cinema, and has the ability to edit it on that device and then also upload it to the internet for anyone to see. Why do you need the film industry anymore? Why do you need to be a part of that other than some vague notion of being a celebrity?
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I think definitely the perception of things is changing, or careers generally are changing in an amazing way. And I think, there's a real fragmentation of the market and a democratization of the craft, if you like. As you often say, it's getting closer and closer now to anyone being able to, make a high quality video, because the filters, the concept, everything, if you've got a good concept, you probably can make quite a good video, and you don't need a lot of training or a lot of skill. And if you've got 2,000 followers on Instagram or something, you've got an audience, and you've got a significant audience that would share that and then pass that around. So that democratization has changed things. I think you're absolutely right. The perception of the industry is changing, and what you might want to do within the industry is changing. But is changing in some really strange ways. The democratization means it's easier for people to make a career. So you hear now of people just with their own YouTube channels, and that's their job. And, they kind of fly under the radar to everyone except their followers, of course, because if you're not their followers, you don't know about them.
That's right.
But they can have significant numbers. They can be significant celebrities within certain, social circles. And I think the big change is that, probably there are some bit more tech-savvy parents these days who, if you say to them, I'm going to have a career as an entertainer, maybe they're not so concerned. Whereas 40 or 50 years ago, the last thing you wanted your children to do was become an actor or a singer or a musician or something like that. So, it's very interesting to see those changes. And I think you're right, though. I think the perception or the understanding of what the industry is then compared to now is hugely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you've got a generation who thinks YouTube is the source of all video.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to touch on even there's two aspects to the industry which kind of can work against you if you want to be in it and want to navigate through it. There's the aspect that hooks you in, which is the ability for to work in an industry that satisfies your creative passions, I guess, because it really can. I mean, I'm sure I can speak for the both of us that it's a very strong pull that has, that you want to be a part of that you can express yourself in this medium and get people to watch it and engage in conversation and whatnot. But then there's another aspect to it that kind of undermines that part of it, which is the business, which I guess it's highlighted in dark ways at the moment with what's happening after the Harvey Weinstein thing and sort of the really dodgy aspects of navigating a lot of really, nefarious characters and whatnot that will show up in this industry and take advantage of those people who want to express their creative passions in this medium. And I find that it ultimately, that's where I kind of went off it, that it seems almost like you would need to create your own, if you're going to survive healthily in that industry, you'd almost need to figure out a way to obviously become very successful to the point where you could create your own little bubble within the industry, that you have your own people that you work with and sort of try to isolate yourself as much as possible from a lot of that other rubbish that's going on. And to that extent, I think that comes out now. I don't know if, people are still into celebrity culture and celebrities, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're a film star anymore or a TV star. That could be, it could be anything. If anything, I don't know if you say you're a film director now at a party, whether or not people will actually think that that's a good thing. Whereas I would think 15 years ago, people were like, oh, wow, is that what you do? It's like being a pilot or a submarine captain or something. It's just something that hooks people in. But I think these days, I don't know if people find that interesting anymore, or because the quality of the stuff's changed.
I think that's because 15 years ago, you might be the only filmmaker at a party. Today, you're there with 10 other filmmakers. You might as well say, I don't know, you work in hospitality or something. It's a very common thing,
Yeah.
Everyone's an artist these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So to me, it just kind of highlights where are they sitting now, and as a broader thing, I think there was a thing where the creative artist became a celebrity off the back of the strength of their work, and that's something we would see. So the obviously most famous and successful example of that is a Spielberg type. Who had phenomenal success, but when you think about maybe he was at the right place at the right time and executed his talents in a way that got that sort of success, but today I don't know if that's actually possible in the world that we're living in, and the restrictions Hollywood are placing on the type of content they're producing.
Yeah, well, I guess it's like music today. Being a rock star today, there's a lot of fame, there's a lot of money, and maybe there always was, but it's not like it was 20 years ago. It's not like it was 40 years ago, and never will be. Yeah, interesting.
So just as a more just to finish up on, obviously we mentioned the Weinstein thing and how that's led to a whole lot of dirty laundry, shall we say? That's probably the softest way of putting it, to be aired out in public as to what goes on behind the scenes in the industry. How much that aspect of it, see, it's always been there. So, but the thing is, Hollywood's pretty good at glamorizing themselves to the public, so that people think, "Wow, I'd love to be a part of that." Do you think there'd be much of an impact now with all of this sort of stuff coming out that makes it a bit more obvious that it's not quite as nice as it appears?
Well, yeah, I don't really know what any of this is going to achieve long term. Does it just normalise the behaviour, which everyone would say is unacceptable? But I just wonder. I mean, you have to take the whole scenario with a great deal of cynicism. Not the claims against Weinstein, I guess, but the nature of and motivations of some of those claims and some of the hubris around, all these claims coming out. There's a lot of willing participants at the time, and I just don't think you can use the Hitler defence that it was all one person.
Yeah,
I guess I think as much as you and I aren't fans of what happens behind the scenes, Ben, I don't think the industry could work if you changed it. The whole industry is aspirational, and it's about people, doing things to get ahead. And, it's ugly. We know that, but I just, how would you change it? How would you equalise it? How would you cleanse it? They're questions beyond me.
I guess for me, I'd almost think it's the ultimate tragedy and sort of like contradiction within the industry itself, that it relies on such a positive aspiration to aspire to, essentially, yet you have to compromise yourself completely to get to that aspiration, unless you're very, very lucky in the way the path leads you to that aspiration. I
think it was by Anthony Michael Hall, that in Hollywood the same people you meet on the way up are the ones you meet on the way down. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So I don't know that there's much more to put to that, really. You'd hope, because people go into it pure of heart and with genuine desire to be artistic, but it's a very competitive place, and I think the industries that are like that, typically that are highly aspirational and highly competitive, they have to be grubby. I just don't know, unless you replace everyone with machines, how you get around that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there and see what the entertainment industry throws at us this year, or we just keep watching YouTube clips.
That's right, YouTube. Yeah, they're the way to go.
All right, so don't forget our website, SciTechCulture.com. You can get all of our links and content there. Subscribe to all of our videos, audio channels, etc. We've got various different options you can pick from, and from whatever device you happen to be using at the time. So, and we'd really appreciate it if you check this out there. All right, so don't forget, I think I've sort of stumbled over myself there. That's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.